Hi, this is Rob Diori again, Chief Technology Officer with Blue Thread Technologies. We're going to do a quick demo today of our externalize and recall jobs. Externalize allows you to take an existing content database, externalize the content, and then going forward, content will be externalized in real time. Recall job lets you take content that's been externalized and bring it back into the content database. While we don't envision many scenarios beyond just not wanting to use StoragePoint any longer, for having the recall job, it's there as kind of an insurance policy. If you have problems, with the content once it's been externalized, or you're terminating your evaluation of the technology, it gives you a way to back out the product, back out of the product without having to do any real heavy lifting, and we'll show you what that looks like as part of this demonstration. So I'm just I've got a site collection scoped storage profile here. It's already defined. We've just using our file system adapter, put it into a local share. Not doing anything fancy here. If I go over to my timer job configuration, I've got two timer jobs here. One to do the externalize, one to do the recall. You can go number of threads. By default, it'll do the number of, it'll do one thread per processor. You can throttle that up or down if you'd like. We by default send a notice, which is just it's a summary of what happened with the job. We send that to the site collection administrator. You can specify additional people on here as well. You can schedule this job to run. You can tell it what server to run on if you've got multiple servers in your farm, and then you can run it. You can run it right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and run it right now. It's going to take about a minute for that to kick off, and then another minute or two to run. In our testing and with customers, you can assume an average runtime of about 4 to 5 hours per 200 gigabytes. So if you've got 200 gigabytes of content in a content database, it's going to take you about 4 to 5 hours to externalize that, and that's on average. We depending on the hardware you have and the size of your farm, that could take considerably less. I think we've also seen it take a little bit longer. So that's an average. Once this kicks off, we'll start seeing content externalized to this folder location. We'll be able to monitor it a couple different ways. You can go into the operations here. I can go into the timer job status. The job hasn't kicked off yet. We're not seeing it. Go ahead and refresh that again. It's still not there. You can also, we ship the product with some performance monitors as well. So as the jobs are running, you can see the rate at which content's being externalized, how many blobs have been externalized. It's got 5 or 6 counters for each one of the jobs that just give you general status information. All right, we can see the jobs running now. It's at 42%. If I go look in the blob store, you'll see that there's folders here now. These are just based on the current date and time. We've already got, we're almost done. There's just over 1,000 documents in this site collection, so it's probably pretty darn near done. Let's go look. We can go, and there it is. So there's the email that's telling us the job's complete. Just some information about the profile that was used to externalize the content, when it started and stopped. So it took, my math's bad today, 40 seconds to externalize 1,048 documents. If I go back to the file system here, just do a properties on that top level folder, you could see 1,048 files, just over 2 meg. So, we externalized a little over 1,000 documents, 200 meg in 40 seconds. So, and that's in line with our averages. If I go into the actual site collection where that content was externalized, I can drill down. This is all invoice. It's just scanned, grayscale TIFF. So if I go into the details here, you can see that it externalized it. It's now sitting on the file system. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and do this again now with a recall job. So basically, hit that big undo button that we've built into our product. So I just go back to the storage profiles, go to the configure timer jobs again, and hit recall content. Again, it's going to take about a minute for that to run, another minute or two for it to recall the content, and then we'll be able to go back in and see that the details panel on the document will tell us that the content is now sitting inside the database versus on the file system. So let's give that a minute or two to run, and then we'll come back and pick up where we left off. Okay, we're back. We see that the recall job is started. It's sitting at 6%, so it's working its way through all that externalized content and pulling it back into the content database. So if I go out to the file system here, you can see it's starting to reduce the number of documents that are externalized. If I go back to the properties, we can see that it's pulled in about a little over 30 meg, roughly 200 files. So it's making its way through that. We'll give it another minute or so here to finish that up, and then we can go validate that everything's been returned to the content database. Where's it sitting now? Let's refresh this screen here. It's at 42%, so it's just shy of halfway done. Should be wrapping things up here in a minute or two. Now it's down to 247 in that folder. Go look at the properties again. We're down to 218 files, so it's almost 80% done at this point. It's almost done. It's cleared out the first folder. It's cleared out the second folder. And there is the completion report. So same number of documents recalled that we externalized. It took 1 minute and 18 seconds to pull them back into the database. If I go over to the invoices here, now I just pick one of these and SharePoint details, now it says it's in the content database versus sitting on the file system. So we successfully recalled all that content back into the content database. Now you could unplug StoragePoint and your content will still be retrievable.